This is the funding briefing for the Holiday Activities and Food Programme 2023. My name is Mel Kinnear and I'm the Holiday Activities Food Programme Manager. I'm also supported by Sam Billington, who is the Support Officer and can answer any of your questions. If you do have any questions, we do direct everyone to the HAF inbox and we'll give those details at the end of this presentation. For those who haven't been involved with the Holiday Activity and Food Programme, or HAF as we refer to it, this is funded by the Department for Education and we have been delivering this in Brighton and Hove since Easter 2021. The programme provides enriching activities, which can be a full range of offers. It also must provide a meal for each child and support during the school Easter, summer and Christmas holidays. There is no funding for provision during the half-term holidays. Provision is free to school-aged children from reception to year 11, so that's 4 to 16-year-olds who receive benefit-related free school meals. And it's worth noting that benefit-related free school meals are different to the universal free school meals for infants. So in reception to year 2, those pupils will receive a free meal. This is very different from benefit-related, which is means tested. Those delivering the HAF programme will need to show that they can meet a framework of standards. This includes the food provision, awareness and understanding of healthy eating, supporting families to signposting referral opportunities, enriching activities, physical activities, and we also need to comply with policies and procedures. So looking at the application process, if you email the HAF inbox, we can send you the programme information pack, the application form and a number of supporting documents to hopefully give you any details that you still require. Here you can see the HAF timeline. This is available on the programme information pack and on the application form. We launched applications on Wednesday the 11th of January. This funding briefing will be made available on YouTube shortly. On Tuesday the 17th of January, there will be a safeguarding and health and safety briefing workshop if you have any questions about the standards required, and another briefing workshop on the food provision. This will include an opportunity to meet some food providers that you may want to commission to deliver your food. In addition, there is also a workshop on equality, diversity, inclusion. This will look at including pupils with special educational needs, but also look at how to make sure that you don't create a stigma for those children on free school meal receiving a HAF-funded place, as well as looking at ensuring that all provision is inclusive and does engage people from all different backgrounds. The deadline for submitting policies and procedures is Tuesday the 31st of January. However, we do ask that if you can submit these sooner, this will give us more time to come back to you and ask to make any amends that are still required. The deadline for funding applications is Tuesday the 7th of February. We'll provide applicants with a decision 2 weeks after this. HAF can be delivered over 45 days in 2023. The launch of the Easter programme will be on Monday the 6th of March. So when applying, please do make sure that all of the information for Easter is as accurate as possible. This will be turned around quickly for promotion following the agreement of funding. The dates available for delivery are listed on this page. However, they're also available in the programme information pack and the application form. There are 8 days available at Easter across the 2 weeks of the school holidays. There are 6 weeks available over the summer holidays, which are 29 days, as we can't fund programmes delivered on the bank holiday Monday. And then at Christmas, or the winter HAF programme as we refer to it, again, there are 8 days, with 5 days before Christmas and 3 days between the bank holidays after Christmas and New Year. There are also some reporting deadlines which generally fall 2 weeks after the end of the school holidays. So who can apply? Any provider of activity for those in reception to year 11. This includes schools, but the main purpose is that you must be able to demonstrate you meet the HAF framework of standards. As I've said, The Easter part of the application must be accurate. We do, however, hope that most applicants will be able to also indicate if they want to deliver in the summer and winter, and provide enough detail to show the length of the days, the number of days. But we have also introduced a window to each period just before, so that you get 4 days where you can come back and make any revisions. We know sometimes things are unforeseen. It may be that you can't have the dates that you were hoping to deliver, but we'd hope that you'd still be able to deliver the same number of days. Similarly, sometimes locations change, for example, if schools have maintenance that needs to be undertaken. We provide funding support throughout the process. These have already been referred to, but they're also listed on this page. If you need to receive any additional documents, please do contact haf@brighton-hove.co.uk, .gov.uk. More information is available in the programme information pack. We also have a number of guidance documents regarding safeguarding, health and safety, the food provision, and also how to optimise bookings and attendance. As stated, all policies must be submitted by Tuesday the 31st of January at the latest. The sooner you can get these in, the sooner we can review them and offer any support that is required to bring them up to the standards that we require in Brighton and Hove. This may be different to other local authorities. All questions on the application form must be completed, including the scored questions. All information must meet the required standards, so please do refer to the programme information pack. And as stated previously, applications must be submitted by Tuesday, the 7th of February. The applications will be assessed by an evaluation panel. Award decisions are made based on a number of different criteria and a combination of the below. This could be the score achieved by the application, ensuring provision offers the provision offered matches the locations of children and young people receiving free school meals in the city, so looking at the areas of high deprivation, the value for money offered by each applicant, being able to access as many children and young people as possible, and this includes both at primary and secondary age. We are looking for a range of activities across the city so that we can cater for all interests. And we also want to make sure we can provide for children and young people with special educational needs. We're looking for a range of organisations across the city and not just one provider. And we do want to make sure the provision is spread across the holiday periods. Our target audience is for those from reception to year 11 who receive benefit-related free school meals. In 2022, we did attempt and pilot to use the 15% discretionary funding. However, this is currently under review as we need to ensure that we can control the access of that 15%. Providers are not expected to cover the full age range. We have particular interest in supporting young people aged 14 to 16, those with special educational needs and disabilities, children and young people with a Black minority ethnic background, and those with English as a second language. These are groups that we have found more challenging to engage, and also there seems to be less providers. It is important that bookings are eligibility checked. This is a requirement of the Department for Education. It is our intention to introduce a central HAF booking system in 2023. However, until this is set up, providers will need to provide their own booking tool. We hope that this will be in place by summer 2023, at which point all providers will be expected to use the central booking tool. This will go under consultation, and there are a number of means of using the tool. So please don't see this as a barrier. If you have concerns, please do contact a member of the HAF team to discuss. Once the central booking tool is introduced, participants will have access to up to 96 hours of provision per year. This is based on the DfE's recommended 4 hours a day, 4 days a week, for 6 weeks across the year. This allow for improved equitable access to support eligible families and improve attendance. From this, what we mean is that families will not be able to book their child onto multiple events at the same time on the same day. Similarly, they won't be able to block book weeks in advance to ensure that they do have a booking. It will hopefully help families think a little bit more carefully about what they're booking to ensure that there is provision available for everyone. Currently, we're using a process where families have to complete an online form to request a HAF code booking form. If families have previously been provided a HAF booking code, this will be valid until the central booking system is put into place. Codes will be captured by providers at booking, and they have to be shared as part of the reporting process, in addition to the first name, surname, and date of birth of the child. A privacy notice will be provided to make participants aware of how and why you'll be sharing personal data. Delivery dates. Excluding weekends and bank holidays, provision will cover the following periods with a total of 45 days available. As stated previously, this is the Easter, summer and winter holidays. We do have a minimum expectation. At Easter, we're looking for providers to deliver a minimum of 3 days. In the summer, this will be a minimum of 4 days, and at winter, a minimum of 2 days. The duration of sessions is different. For those from reception to year 8, so that's 4 to 13-year-olds, we would like a minimum of 4 hours offered a day. However, there is no maximum. If you are delivering over 8 hours a day, though, there is a requirement to provide a second light meal. Those in year 9 to year 11, so 13 to 16-year-olds or the teenagers, they should be offered a minimum of 2 hours a day, and they can take the form of a drop-in session if participants' data can be captured and meets our reporting requirements. It's at the discretion of the provider to decide whether to offer HAF places as individual sessions or a course of activity, such as a 3-day workshop. We have found that at Christmas in particular, children are less likely to commit to 5 full days in the lead up to Christmas. So it is important to consider the number of days and the number of hours you're asking children to commit to. However, this has proven a fantastic way to ensure that children do return, feel comfortable and start to build confidence and resilience. We expect all children to be encouraged to attend multiple sessions. Looking at our minimum operating standards, one of the questions you'll see in the application form relates to attendance. It will ask you about what measures you'll put in place to ensure that attendance is maximised. Participants should be encouraged to attend multiple sessions and can book onto sessions with various providers. As we've said, teenagers can attend drop-in sessions, but they're not expected to attend for the full duration of the offer. Providers are expected to deliver the HAF places that funding has been requested for. So if you request funding for 100 days, we do look for all 100 days to be delivered. And by that, we mean attended. We do have a document which provides guidance on optimising bookings and attendance. This was put together taking feedback and information from providers in 2021. What we have seen is that providers who help plan in advance do have better attendance rates. By overbooking, this helps mitigate against the dropout of no-shows. Because of the nature of the programme, with HAF being free to those individuals, it does become optional for some families, and we can expect some no-shows. Similarly, recently we have experienced a high level of illness amongst children, which again has meant that they've been unable to attend. It is helpful to have a reserve list or a waiting list. However, this really is only as good as your cancellation policy and the reminders you send out. You need to ensure you give yourself the time to be able to contact people on the waiting list if people do begin to cancel. This isn't always possible, and if people cancel on the day, then it will become challenging to try and backfill places. As you become more experienced as a HAF provider, you'll start to see a trend in the number of no-shows or non-attendance. Generally across the city, we have experienced up to 15% non-attendance. We'll talk about funding, but there is funding available to help you mitigate your risk of overbooking. However, we do appreciate you also need to consider staff ratios and space available. However, as you become more confident, hopefully you will see that it is less of a risk and you will start to be able to plan to overbook. We would recommend overbooking by 10%. Another minimum operating standard is looking at policies and procedures. This is part of the framework of standards. You must submit your evidence by Tuesday the 31st of January to allow enough time for us to review your policies. You will require a safeguarding and child protection policy, a health and safety policy, which must also include £10 million public liability and employers' liability insurance. If you don't currently have £10 million cover in place, we ask that you contact your insurer to understand the premium to increase your cover. Please do not put that cover in place until your funding has been confirmed. If the cost is a barrier, please do contact the HAF team to discuss. Data protection policy is also required, and an equalities, diversity and inclusion policy, or this may be named an equalities policy or something similar. In addition, you will need to comply with Ofsted registration requirements. A number of organisations may be exempt under the rules. However, in particular, if you are looking after young children and you're offering a range of activities, it is likely you'll need to register with Ofsted. You may also consider voluntary registration, as you could help offset up to 85% of childcare costs for families, which is another fantastic way to support vulnerable families during the crisis of cost of living crisis. This year, we've also introduced the need to have a complaints procedure, and we ask that as part of the application, you submit evidence of this complaints procedure or any access to where this can be found online. Food provision is another of the areas that comes under the framework of standards. In the application form, it is also a scored question and is worth 30% of the scored question marks. As part of the question, you'll be asked to provide a sample menu for the day or week. If you have an external provider, you can ask for a copy of this to attach and submit as part of your application, or if you're providing your own food, again, just list out the food that you'll be providing to demonstrate how it meets the school food standards. Our preference is a hot meal, but we acknowledge this isn't always practical. You will be providing one meal a day. This can be at breakfast, lunch, or tea, dinner. And all food, including snacks, must meet the school food standards. There is a separate workshop being provided in the week commencing the 23rd of January. This will help explain how food must meet wider standards, so complying with regulations of food preparation, how to account for allergies and dietary requirements. There is guidance for schools which also complies, but you must be aware of the labelling requirements under Natasha's law. All food must be labelled with the ingredients available, highlighting key allergens. You will be expected to collect allergens and dietary requirements at booking. You will also want to consider religious or cultural requirements for food. Where applicable, it is our preference to work with registered food businesses, and your food hygiene rating must be between 3 and 5. If you're unsure whether you'll need to register as a food business, again, please do contact the HAF team via the inbox and we'll arrange a time to meet. If you are preparing and serving food on a regular basis, which means more than a one-off, then you will probably need to be registered as a food business. Again, we can provide support in this area, and it's not always as scary as it sounds. We have a fantastic contact in the team that will help process your application, and she will provide the support to ensure that you know what's required of you. We also have a number of template documents to help you structure your provision. Within the food provision, it has to be stated that food is not optional. All children must be provided with a meal unless under exceptional circumstances agreed with the HAF team. We are aware there have been a couple of children in the past where they do need feeding through a tube, for example. So children can't be given the option to opt out. The meal must be provided. We appreciate that there are a number of fussy eaters and some who would rather bring in a packed lunch. This needs to be planned for and considered, but all children must be provided. Provision over 8 hours must offer a second light meal, and the cost of this can be listed under equipment and resources. Also, all children attended must be provided with a very similar offer, if not identical food offer. So within your HAF offer, you may consider providing a HAF-specific model where it is only for children who are eligible under free school meals. However, you may have an integrated model where children are also attending funded by a different means. For example, you could have parents paying for places. With this, we would expect the children to have an identical food offer or as much as possible. So if those families who are paying for provision send their children in with lunch boxes, then we would expect the children attending under HAF to also be provided with something similar to a lunchbox. It wouldn't therefore have to be a hot meal. We also appreciate that some provision really it's not practical. For example, if you're delivering sports out in a field and all the children then sit out and enjoy their packed lunch as a picnic, it's not practical to then provide hot meals out in the field, or it could create stigma to then bring a certain segment of those children inside to have a hot meal. So for this reason, we do want it to be integrated so that it is very seamless and we're not creating a them and us culture. It's also worth noting, new for 2023, that we are paying more attention to the environmental and sustainability of the HAF programme. With this, we expect all providers to ensure there's a ban on single-use plastic plates and cutlery, moving towards a reuse and refill approach. With this, you can apply to buy your own plates and cutlery that can be reused again. What we would ask is, again, that you put this under equipment and resources for the first holiday period you'll be delivering. If this pushes your costs above the guide price, then please explain in the narrative in the application form that this is a one-off cost. We also ask all providers to help us work towards minimising food waste, and there will be a number of workshops and guidance given out to help support providers with this. Slightly new area to the HAF programme is awareness and understanding of healthy eating. This was previously named nutrition education. However, it was felt that this name was too formal and the Department for Education has since changed the title. From experience and observations over the past 2 years, this area was very varied and it was challenging for all providers to offer something of high quality. However, from our observations, the one thing that we did see that worked particularly well was taste tests. We observed providers who have offered a variety of apples cut up, with the children taste testing to decide their favourite apple. Some providers look to offer seasonal snacks. We've seen providers offer peppers cut up so that children have to consider which flavour pepper is their favourite, or maybe it's carrots presented in different ways, from grated to battens to circles, to see whether the texture, the taste changes, or just children's opinions. This has worked really well in introducing children to new foods and encouraging them to be more open to trying a variety of foods. So with this, we have introduced an expectation that as a baseline, all providers in Brighton and Hove must deliver a healthy snack taste test to help participants get hands-on and try new foods. This is eligible as an activity, so please do list the cost of this under equipment and resources in your funding application budget. If you have other paying customers and this would not fall under the cost of your activities, please contact the HAF team but this may be eligible for wider funding, again, to ensure that there is no stigma of children accessing this. We appreciate this is a requirement that we are placing on the programme, which then may put a stress on the wider offer. Also in Brighton and Hove for 2023, providers will be able to request a free set of stickers to reward children, and we envisage this really working with the younger children who are trying new and a wider variety of food. So it's a little reward sticker for trying something new. Also, where practical, as that is the absolute baseline, we're also looking for providers who can provide a more informal learning activities. So again, this could be food preparation, cooking, growing fruit and vegetables, and other sensory activities where children get hands-on with food. We know that by encouraging children to engage with food, this can have some of the biggest impact on their approach to diet. Awareness and understanding of healthy eating. We're also looking for providers who can deliver family HAF sessions. So this would be delivered as your HAF session. And within this, you would still have to set a total number of places based on the number of children who are eligible attending. However, they may have a family member attend with them. So this would include training and advice for parents, carers, or other family members on how to source, prepare, and cook nutritious and low-cost food. Sessions could also cover wider topics such as addressing fussy eating and dispelling myths related to healthy diets. These sessions could include hands-on food preparation and/or growing food activities to help engage and educate the whole family. If you'd like to learn more about this, again, please do contact the HAF team. We have some lovely case studies from the Brighton and Hove Food Partnership who delivered this previously at winter and previous holiday programmes. Another area of the standards is helping to provide information, signposting, referrals to other services and support that would benefit the children who attend the provision and their families. We often see this as much larger than just those who receive benefit-related free school meals, as often it's not always clear what is happening in someone's life, and anybody can fall in challenging times. With the introduction of family hubs in Brighton and Hove in April 2023, they will now be providing the providers with information to share with families and helping signpost to their web pages for families to access more support and information. The Family Hub service is a network that brings together all of the provision across the city that can support low-income families. Another minimum operating standard is providing enriching activities. Again, this is part of the scored questions and forms 40% of the scored questions. Within this section, you will need to tell us about the fun and enriching activities that you're providing children and young people. We also are asking why you've chosen these activities. So think about how you are helping achieve our outcomes through developing the skills and knowledge of the young people, or maybe consolidating existing skills and knowledge. Maybe it's helping them try out new experiences, or simply to have fun and socialise where they may otherwise be isolated. We appreciate that enriching activities could be a broad range of activities. It could be anything from sports and physical activity to arts and crafts, music, drama. It could be science, technology and mathematics. Maybe there's some sort of computing skills. As long as it is helping develop those outcomes and achieve those outcomes, we are really interested in a whole host of activities. But please do give some consideration why you think that they are particularly age appropriate, but also will help achieve outcomes. Another area is provision of physical activities. As a minimum, all providers need to help ensure they provide a minimum of 1 hour of physical activity within within a session. There are physical activity guidelines that are provided by the NHS that recommend children and young people engage in moderate to vigorous intensity physical activity for an average of 60 minutes per day across the week. Now, moderate to vigorous activity is where you start to feel out of breath and your heart rate increases. You may be able to continue to hold a conversation, but it's unlikely you would be able to sing whilst undertaking moderate to vigorous activity. We need help in helping minimise the amount of time children spend sitting and being sedentary. So the 60 minutes doesn't need to be one block of activity. It can be broken up over short periods, but this can also help you break up the time that children spend sitting and help children move more. As part of this, you may also want to promote active travel, so encouraging children and their families to access your venue by walking, cycling, scooting, or other physical means. This is an example of how the question is laid out. So you'll be giving examples about how the types of activity raise heart rates, help develop movement skills, and minimise the amount of time sitting. Again, we're not trying to catch you out. So if this is an area that isn't key to your programme, please talk to us and we will help you consider where physical activity can be built into the programme. Something we do encourage is collaborative delivery. So this is working with other community activity and food providers to ensure that the interests of all participants are met and that high quality is provided. However, it is the responsibility of the lead provider. So that would be the person submitting the application or the organisation and person who therefore is named as the grant holder. It's your responsibility to ensure that any delivery partners also align to your own ethos and standards, as well as those laid out in this document. All staff must be appropriately qualified or experienced to carry out the delivery of the activity being offered, and clear lines of reporting are required. The lead provider is accountable for ensuring that each delivery partner either has sufficient policies and procedures or is covered by their own. Therefore, if they're falling underneath your safeguarding procedures, which I'd imagine most would, you need to ensure that they understand your safeguarding procedures and they understand who to report any concerns to. We do have a quality assurance framework to ensure that all providers meet the required standards, but also to help providers develop and strengthen their offer. Information and guidance is available through briefings such as this recording. We also have a number of information packs, including the programme information pack, which is almost like the main source to refer back to. It has everything in there you should require. But there are also separate documents for specialised areas such as safeguarding, health and safety, and also considering how to make sure you optimise take-up of your provision. Capability testing is carried out through an assessment of policies and procedures, but we also come out and perform quality assurance visits. These are just as much for us to learn as for you to reflect on your provision. Self-review and development. As part of your application process, you are asked to assess yourself against the framework of standards. We don't expect everyone to excel in all areas, but what we do expect is that you identify areas of weakness where they could be developed and ask you to think about a small step change to strengthening that part of your offer. To assist with your development, you will also be training and workshops will also be available to you as an organisation and staff delivering. This is to help strengthen your offer. In the past, this has been everything from an introduction to safeguarding in partnership with Safety Net. We've also provided level 2 food safety and hygiene training. And we're also looking to expand our offer of supporting special educational needs and disabilities. This provision is free. Another area that we'll use to analyse performance is the booking attendance data. We'll discuss under the reporting section of this briefing the information required, but we will look at the take-up of your bookings and attendance to consider whether or not the marketing of your programme has been successful, but also how the engagement of families has been successful. This may inform funding decisions in the future and help us to understand whether or not there is capacity to offer more. The promotion of the programme is the responsibility of the provider, as well as bookings. As I've said previously, it is our intention to have a central booking system to improve the user experience of the family. Currently, a family will need to go and set up an account with various providers if they want to take part in different activities. Many of the families find this very challenging, and each booking tool is very different. By having a central booking system, the hope is that families will be able to fill in one account and provide all the information required. HAF providers will then have their own account to get into the booking system to manage their listing and manage all the bookings. The booking system will hold all bookings as a provisional booking so that these can be reviewed by the provider before accepting and confirming that place. This is particularly important when considering children with special educational needs and disabilities or any other additional needs. It's important that you are confident in your organisation and your staff in the ability to meet the needs of those children. Providers are required to make every adaptation possible to support the needs of children. However, we do appreciate that there are lines where it may not be possible to support specific children's needs. This obviously has to be managed with empathy, and if you do require support in what is expected, please again do contact the HAF inbox. To support your promotion of the activity, we do have a comms toolkit that helps provide ideas about language might use and how to avoid creating a stigma. You'll also have access to a suite of logos. This includes the logo for the Department for Education, Brighton and Hove City Council, and also our local HAF logo. Last year, we used HAF 2022. If you look at this on Twitter or Facebook or even Instagram, you'll see local authorities and providers across the country promoting their activity. This is also a great way to find out successful and interesting ways of promoting HAF activity. Obviously, for 2023, it will be hashtag HAF 2023. Brighton Hove City Council continue to share information with schools and professionals supporting low-income families, including social workers. This is to help drive awareness of the programme and also referrals into the programme. So we will help raise awareness of all of our providers and the provision in specific areas. Some provision may be open. This means it can be promoted across the city to all children meeting the correct age and who can access that provision. Other provision may be listed as closed, and you can identify this on your application form. A closed booking is one that is not available to all children in the city. For example, a school may be running their own holiday programme, and this may be closed to only the children attending their school. Similarly, you may be a community provider who already has a large membership of eligible children, and again, this may need to be controlled so that this is only open to your members. Please ensure this is clearly stated on your application form. Reporting requirements. All providers are required to provide certain reporting. Until the central booking system is in place, the following process will continue to be used. You'll be provided with a secure online Excel document. This can only be accessed by the people that you list on your application form with an email address by receiving this secured document. Under GDPR, only people who require access to this level of personal information should have access to the secured document. At booking, you'll need to collect a HAF booking code. In the Excel document, you'll list the HAF booking code, the first name, surname, and date of birth of the participants. You will then, in the bookings column, list the number of sessions that each individual has booked. You can also add those that are on the waiting list by filling in the column for waiting list. Following your provision, you can then add the attendance. So how many sessions did they attend? We do ask that you do not delete participants who have cancelled sessions. Instead, you can include this in the information. This helps us understand the engagement and any issues you've had with non-attendance cancellations. It's also quite helpful if you can also list the reasons for non-attendance. So good practice would see organisations, following up with those that have failed to show. Again, there is guidance surrounding how this can be managed. So rather than challenging people for why they haven't showed, let them know that they've been missed. Ask them if there's anything you can do to help make it easier for them to access your provision. Often there is a reason why they weren't able to attend, so do take the time to listen and empathise. As part of the reporting, providers are also expected to complete an online survey. We also have our own survey for participants, but you may want to provide your own so that you can get feedback that shapes your overview of what has worked well and where you might make improvements. The survey that we provide to participants, we will send out via the HAF central booking system, but for now we have a distribution list. So when families request their HAF booking code, they can opt into marketing, which is also helping us promote programmes across the city. As mentioned previously, at Brighton Hove City Council, we have a commitment to the environmental and sustainability in the city to look after and support residents and people who visit the city. As part of this, we expect all providers to support and champion the following actions: champion active travel, the ban on single-use plastic plates and cutlery, and minimising food waste. Regarding the funding available, there is approximately £550,000 available for programmes across 2023. Match funding isn't a requirement, however, we do ask this to be listed in the application just so that we have a true understanding of the funding required to deliver your programme, as this may not be, your match funding may not be available in future programmes. There is budget guidance listed in the programme information pack. We recognise that different types of provision will have different costs. However, from experience from previous HAF programmes, we have some budget guidelines. On average, for example, a HAF place will cost £4.70 per hour per participant. This doesn't include the cost of the meal. So based on this rate, the cost of a HAF participant for a 4-hour day would be £18.80 based on the activity. You would then add on the cost of the meal. If a higher level of funding is requested, this needs to be accompanied by a clear explanation. So there is a separate Excel document this year for you to fill in your budget. This will then populate an overview of the programme where you'll then add the total number of HAF places for each programme, the number of days and duration of each day. This will then calculate for you your activity cost. If it exceeds £4.70, that cell will turn to red to highlight that you exceed that amount. Where possible, we do challenge providers to come at £4.70 or below, and we do have a number of providers who do deliver below that, and that does allow our funding to go further and support more families. If your provision is over £4.70, you will need to answer the question in the application form and provide a narrative to justify where your programme is coming in at a higher rate. For example, specialist SEND provision can come with additional costs. Quite often they require much higher staff ratios, potentially specialised locations or equipment, and even sometimes the food offer does need to be adapted. This simply needs to be explained in the application. We're also happy to explore flexibility in funding relating to programmes for 14 to 16-year-olds. We commonly find that to engage teenagers, they do tend to like trips out or quite specialised provision that is more engaging. So again, we appreciate this can come at a higher rate. Similarly, there will be certain provision where you do require specialised providers who may come in at a higher rate. Do consider this. It's also worth considering when putting together your budget that the minimum living wage is increasing in April. This is listed in the programme information pack, but please do ensure that you have considered any uplift in the cost, in the price of your staff. For food, we don't expect to pay more than £4.50 per person for a meal. This is our cap. Please make sure that your food comes in below £4.50. And as a reminder, this is for the meal, not the snacks or any other activities, including food. Under the budget, you should only list the meals for the children. This is then translated down into the breakdown of your programme. And again, if it comes in at over £4.50, it will be highlighted in red. Please ensure this is looked at and revised before submitting the funding application. Further funding guidance. In order to demonstrate value for money, the council do want to optimise back bookings and attendance. So to be clear on our expectations, we do ask that you set a realistic total number of HAF places. If you've previously provided HAF in Brighton and Hove, we will look at your past performance delivery. So we will look at your data. If you're unsure about what is realistic, again, we're happy to discuss this with you and give you examples of similar provision across the city. We do ask you to consider the guide prices. Do try and remain under £4.70 where possible. But again, anything that can help us cost save to allow the funding to go further is much appreciated. Ensure you've reviewed the document providing guidance on optimising bookings and attendance. This will give you lots of ideas about how you can ensure that you're maximising your bookings, but also converting those into actual attendances. We do encourage providers to overbook, and you'll see that there is a 10% contingency. This means that if you have 100 places, aim to book for 110. We will hold in reserve 10% funding for all of the programmes. So after Easter, if you have, from those 100 places, if you deliver 102, we will pay for the additional 2 places based on your day rate. Again, this is shown in the Excel document for the budget. As the holidays roll on, we envisage that there will be funding and an underspend. This means that we can either go out to providers who are receiving high demand and have the capacity to expand, or we can look to commission further provision in areas that are required, or to look for specialised provision to cater for particular groups of children. If bookings remain low, we will contact you to offer support. So it's important that you keep any tracking tools reporting bookings and attendance up to date. And also contact us if you are concerned about bookings. If attendance is also below that that was requested, there is a commentary form. This is an audit trail to ensure that we can justify our spend. What you'll need to do is just explain what you had in place and why you feel that bookings and attendance were low. It'll also give you an opportunity to revise your budget. We appreciate there are a number of fixed costs. So if you had to order food for the day and there were no shows, that was still a cost you incur. Similarly, the marketing may not change or it may increase if bookings are low. However, if you know in advance that the programme's falling, for example, at 30%, you may not have put all the staff in place that were required previously. So there may be cost savings. So this is your opportunity to be transparent and explain what the true cost of that programme was. For providers who are delivering for the first time, we do operate much more flexibility in that first time experience because this is a learning curve for you and it also remains a learning curve for everyone else involved. As you become more experienced, you will start to have repeat participants, which does make it much easier. And you'll also learn the level of non-attendance that you can expect for your particular programme. This will all help you plan to minimise the non-attendance. If you are successful, you will receive a grant agreement. This will outline all of the conditions of the grant, but each holiday period also comes with a review period. So this is where you can adjust to update us on any changes to dates, venues, etc. If the budget has to be revised, we'll also cover this with you. However, if there is a significant increase in the budget, we cannot guarantee that this will be available. We are expecting a much higher interest in our programme, as summer 2022 showed. We grew by 150%. Therefore, we do have to be careful and strict about the funding that we are awarding. Payments for the programme will be based on each holiday programme. So 75% of the Easter payment will be made before the Easter holidays, with the remaining 25% following the holidays and review of the reporting. You will then have an opportunity to review your summer programme if you're also looking to deliver summer. And again, 75% of that payment will be made in advance of the school summer holidays and 25% following. There are reporting deadlines for all programmes to allow us to try and turn around the funding in a timely fashion. And again, the same will happen for winter. So this helps everyone manage their funds, but also mitigate risk. That brings us to the end of our funding briefing. If you would like to ask any further questions, you can contact myself or Sam at haf@brighton-hove.gov.uk. Please do just drop us an email, and if you'd like to talk to us in person, just let us know when's convenient and whether you'd like to have a Teams chat or provide a mobile number, and we'll be in contact as soon as possible. Obviously, this is a very busy period for us, so do contact us as soon as possible. We look forward to talking to you further, and if you haven't already, please do submit an expression of interest. If you send an email to brighton-hove.gov.uk, we'll be able to provide you the link, but it just gives us an idea of who will be applying, and we can ensure that you're kept up to date and invited to all the briefings so that the link is there in your diaries. Thank you very much, and we look forward to meeting with you.